Welcome back, guys. It's Tessa. This is Strong Female Lead, and today we are starting a brand new movie series on everyone's favorite genre of film, the rom-com. And I've got a very special guest with me today. It's her second appearance on the pod. It's everyone's favorite best friend.
Can you appear on a pod?
Yeah, because your voice is appearing.
You don't appear physically. It's just like you're...
Well, it's like an apparition, like a ghost. They appear.
I like that. This is the ghost of Ellen returning to SFL.
It's Ellen! Yay! You may remember her from our episode on Shrill, crowd favorite. And she's back. Yay!
I'm back. Yay!
And Hillary's back. We've missed her.
I'm here. I'm
Yay.
back from my hiatus.
Yay! So today we're bringing you rom-coms, but before we get started, Ellen, have you been watching anything on TV lately, or is there any rom-coms that like have a special place in your heart that you'd recommend that we maybe try on the pod?
Well, I think you guys have already done one of my current, my current favorite running rom-coms. I think you guys have already done Always Be My Maybe.
Yeah.
Which is one of my new faves.
Oh, Keanu.
Oh.
Sad, hot Keanu.
Yeah. I think like for the old, like if we're talking like classic early thousands, rom-coms. And I shudder to say this because I really don't like her in anything else, but I really love 27 Dresses.
I agree.
Like fully, despite my
love Katherine Heigl.
Do you? Because I don't.
I think she's like, for what she does, like she should really be like in that Hallmark Lifetime market, because like for what she does it well.
That's true.
Yeah.
Who do you think's been in more rom-coms? Katherine Heigl or Kate Hudson?
Yikes.
Ooh.
I think
and how
Kate
many do you think
Hudson,
they average?
I think Kate Hudson like walked so Katherine could run, kind of.
Yeah.
I think she kind of set the stage.
Yeah.
But whose were better?
Oh, I think we got to give it for overall best performance, Kate Hudson.
Yeah, Hudson.
Overall body of work,
Hudson.
I think Kate Hudson.
Yeah.
Katherine Heigl, probably, I think she's a little spotty,
Yeah.
In her, there's some good ones here, there's some classics, and then there's some like really not, like what's that one where she's like, I think this one's also on Netflix, the one where she like is with Gerard Butler and he's like a super rude guy and she like, is, I don't know, I think
like
he's
a
like
TV
giving
producer or something, and like,
and I think he's like
the hot guy who's giving
her like relationship advice,
but
but his advice is basically just like be an asshole, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't understand how someone couldn't figure that out, but sure. There's that one. That one's a miss for me.
That one was
not
a miss.
Great.
And even Gerard, in my opinion, never do a rom-com.
What about Knocked Up? That's a rom-com.
But yeah,
it is. No, you're right. It is. I think people forget about it because it's real light on the rom.
Real light,
heavy
on
the com.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a more modern day romance, though.
Yeah.
But then, like, technically, like, Zack and Miri Make a Porno is a rom-com, and I'm like,
we're pushing the boundaries.
Yeah.
I mean, we do
I
have
feel like
to
there
remember
needs to be some real heartbeats for me to like put it in that rom-com category. Otherwise, it pretty much is comedy, which I love.
Yeah.
A comedy which I love, and then so that should be a new category. Or we should just make a podcast dedicated to the movies that I love. Oh my god, I think we did it
already.
Yeah, I think we did it.
We're on that podcast right now.
Oh my god, my dreams came true. But I agree. 27 Dresses is legit. I have it on DVD, and I have a DVD player just so that I can watch 27 Dresses and Will and Grace. Because God forbid they take it away from me again.
Ooh, speaking of Will and Grace, another of my favorite, The Wedding Date. Yes. Deborah Messing.
That was a
and
great
Dylan McDermott.
movie.
Or Dermot Mulroney. The world will never know. One of those two. I want to say it's Dermot Mulroney. I think that's my final answer. Either way, the chiseled face.
Yeah, that very Irish looking.
That very sexy. He has like a scar near his mouth.
Yeah.
Oh.
Which is the one from American Horror Story?
The other one. Dylan McDermott, I think.
Dylan McDermott, yeah.
According
to the other one. So this is the Mulroney.
Yes.
This is Mulroney.
I think. Yeah. I don't know. Honestly, we'll never know. It's a mystery.
Bill Paxton. What's the other guy's name?
What? Bill Paxton?
No, like, there's so many.
Bill Pullman and Bill Paxton.
Bill Paxton.
Yeah. But that one, The Wedding Date, I think is 27 Dresses is very good, but I think The Wedding Date is actually my favorite. I love it so much. I love Deborah Messing in it. I love her horrible sister. Oh, her horrible sister, and the like, I don't, just the whole thing.
Ugh.
Yeah, the golf themed bachelorette party, which it must be an English thing. I just do not understand.
I think one of my favorites is Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Oh, I love that.
That's
a, great
a
one.
really good one, and a rare rom-com that does not focus on the female. It's like the male rom-com.
Yeah.
Like it focuses on
His journey.
yeah. That's a
love
really
that.
good one too.
Ugh.
I think there's a
I
lot
can't
of
believe
movies
they
I'm
didn't make a sequel to
filing
that.
a sequel.
I feel like they should have made a sequel.
I feel like they should. Yeah, I think they tried to spin it off into what's the English guy's characters?
Russell Brand.
Russell Brand had his own spin-off from that movie,
Oh,
but
okay.
I think,
Was it from that movie specifically? Get Him to the Greek? Is that what you're talking
yeah,
about?
I think he's the same character,
Oh,
but
no,
it might
I think
not
that's
be.
just Russell Brand in general. He only
Yeah.
plays himself.
No, I was gonna say, yeah, I think that is. I think it's not the same character's name. Like, I don't think they exist in the same universe. But is it essentially the same character? Yes. And
It's like Paul Rudd.
I always
And-
forget
Paul
that
Rudd
he's
plays
a comedian.
himself.
Exactly.
Like, he
Everywhere
only
he
plays
goes,
Paul Rudd.
same person. And let's also throw one up for I'll admit here, I love Jonah Hill like a lot.
What? Why
Yeah.
is it like you set it up like it was going to be
he's
something
so
devastating?
weird. Like
It's Jonah Hill. He's great.
I think he's
funny
great.
and charming.
I
and
think
very
he's
cute.
adorable, and like I like all of the versions of Jonah Hill. But this one in Forgetting Sarah Marshall, I think it is one of his peak performances that gets overlooked by, I don't know, like what is that? The baseball one, Moneyball. Like everyone wants to focus on the serious movies, and I'm like, no.
Refused to see that. I was
No,
like,
no.
so it's an hour about baseball and there's not even baseball being played.
It's just
Pass.
about money behind baseball, which I
Boring.
seriously cannot manufacture any interest in.
No, I barely could watch those news clips of Trump being booed because I was like, at least I know at the end of this he's gonna get booed and I can laugh at that. But I was like, it's still baseball.
I like baseball, like
If
the
I'm
sport.
there, if I'm
Yeah.
if I'm in the stadium, then baseball is like worth watching. Otherwise, don't even talk about it.
It's
Don't
just
bring
an
it up.
expensive bar to me. And
Yeah.
I don't like it.
It is.
I enjoy to go to a game. It's like kind of a family tradition with my family. We go to see the Sox home opener every year, and you know my dad was a big Sox fan, so like we do a lot of that stuff, and so it's fun. It's like more nostalgia. But as far as the mechanics behind like the
Yeah.
business of baseball, I no.
I'm also just like mad that got such like so many awards. I'm like nothing else came out this year.
yeah.
God.
But anyway, yeah, I love Jonah Hill's little like needy character where he's constantly trying to get Russell Brand to like, I don't know, listen to his mixtape. It's so funny. Like all
When
his
he's
little
I love when he's singing along.
Yes.
And then he's like, oh man, I just went from 6 to midnight.
Exactly. I love there's one where where they go to dinner and like Russell's wearing that horrible shirt that his girlfriend makes him wear, and he like spills wine on it or whatever, and he's like, I saw it from across the restaurant. He runs over and he's like trying to clean him up, and he just keeps like self-deprecating because he's like, Russell Brand's like, you need to get away from me, man. He's like, oh, fuck me, I guess. Great, cheers, bye. Like he's just constant. I just love it. I love it. It's like peak for me.
I love
peak.
that. That's a great movie.
But that's a good job pointing that out as a rom-com. I guess I've never like thought about it that way.
Yeah.
I've always only thought of it as like a straight comedy that happens to be happening during like a breakup.
We did a rom-com on the pod, our second episode, which
Yeah.
is still one of my favorite episodes.
That
we did
that
Something
movie
Borrowed.
was something
Wait.
inspired by our friendship. Ellen and my friendship. We did Something Borrowed on the.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah,
I
and I
remember
told her about it. And I was
because Tessa told me about it, and I was like, and you didn't consult me, the expert on this movie, and how much I
friend things
hate
we ever did was
it.
that movie.
Like-
Oh, it was so good.
Did we get it wrong?
I do not remember. It's been so long
nailed
since
it.
I've listened to that episode. I don't remember what you guys like talked about, but if Tessa was there, I imagine that she brought it up, that I feel that movie should have focused more on the friendship between the girls, and it should have been a movie about a girl who kind of messes up and cheats with her friend's fiance, and then she realizes that her friendship is the most important relationship, and she should have left that guy. Mostly she should have left that guy because he was just like a garbage guy.
They were all kind of
is a
garbage.
garbage.
people.
Yeah, exactly. They're all kind of garbage, but I feel like there was like a glimmer of hope that it would be one of the first like kind of rom-coms, but about like female friendship,
Yeah,
you know?
kind of like I wish that like Booksmart and Something Borrowed could merge into like one perfect
Yeah.
film. Well, the stakes were just a little bit higher in Booksmart, where their friendship was just a little bit more on the line.
Yeah.
And then, have like the reality check that Booksmart
like if that
nailed
fight,
it in so many ways. Yeah.
like if the fight in Booksmart had happened in like the beginning of Act 2,
Yeah.
So we have a little more time to like fully kind of break up,
Yeah,
quote
they
unquote,
needed to like dissolve
and
a
then
little
really
more,
get
but-
back together.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And it could have been more of that rom-com format of, like we've been together, we break up, and then we're forced back together kind of thing.
Yeah.
That would have been better.
I
Or
kinda
like
felt
more
like
close to what I
Booksmart
think you're
chose
talking about.
sides, and I was like a little that was the only thing I felt was disappointing about Booksmart, is that I do feel like it chose I feel bad because I forget Jonah Hill's sister's name, but I do feel like they
Beanie
chose
Feldstein?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt like they chose her character as like, she was obviously the star, and I felt like it leaned a little bit more in her direction, but I was like, I feel like your friend has very valid points on why the relationship isn't working from her end. I felt like it was just like, oh, okay, she learned that she's like, too much, and to tone it down, and now we can be friends again. And I was like, but you also lied to her, the friend. She's
Oh,
like,
the blonde friend?
Yeah, and I was like, but you also lied to her
yeah.
for months and led her to believe something, so she's kind of, a little bit valid in that.
Yeah.
She's mad at you because...
Yeah. Well, I think that a lot of these, like, again, I adore Booksmart for, like, again, wrapping around to Jonah Hill, the same reason I adore, what's that movie? The one with him and, you know what I'm talking about, Seth Rogen.
Ooh.
It is, like,
Superbad?
fully, yes, I was going to say it has fully left my brain the entire... The minute I brought it up, the name of the movie and all the actors completely deleted from my my mind. Like,
That yeah.
so it's like that, but I love those kind of movies about like friends who have always just kind of been best friends and have never had to really think about like, should we be best friends? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Kind of, I think it's interesting to go back and look at that kind of feeling, because as an adult, you're like, oh yeah, like the friends I have, I know that I want them around because my true calling is to have no one around me ever, like that'd be great.
Yeah.
If I could just be my truest form is just me alone in my house.
Yeah.
With no anything going on.
Yeah.
And so to have like, a long-term relationship or best friends who you keep around for a while, or even, I don't know, some siblings, you have to constantly be reevaluating, like, do I like you enough to keep you near me? Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a constant process. But when you're like, 17 and you've been, best friends with the same people that you went to high school with and like, probably middle school and grade school, you've never had to think about that. So I kind of love that moment in movies of like, oh, we're like having a fight.
Yeah.
And it's a silly fight because we don't know how to fight. We've never had to fight before.
Yeah.
Like,
Not each other anyway.
exactly. Yeah. Never with each other. And never like with real stakes of like,
Yeah.
do I have to think about if I'm going to give up this friendship or not? Mm-hmm. Whereas, when you get to 30, you're like, I don't even think about it. Just, snip, snip.
Yeah.
Like, see you later.
God. Yeah. Well, that's always been my life philosophy. So, just like, I don't know. All relationships are optional, which, has, led me down an interesting path. My favorite two rom-coms are P.S. I Love You.
Yeah.
Because I feel like sometimes you just need to cry. And that movie makes me cry from literally like right after the credits. I was like, oh no, he's going to die. Like immediately I remember, I was like, oh, I don't know why. I'm like, I feel like I have a good feeling after I watch it. I was like, that was really good. It was like, it felt really complete. But then like when I go to watch it again, I'm like, oh, I forgot that I cried last time for 90 minutes. Remembering that he died.
Just one 90-minute solid weeping.
Yeah. Yep. Nailed it. And then my other favorite is 2 Weeks Notice. I think it's perfect.
Okay.
Hugh Grant.
That's a good
Sandy.
one. The
Sandy
charming
Bullock.
Hugh Grant,
Yes.
when he was dominating the rom-com situation.
Yes. And
Oh,
she's
okay.
like a civil rights attorney. And I was like, yes. And he's just like Donald Trump. And I was like, oh my God, Donald Trump needs a Sandy.
What?
I was like, you know what he needs is like a Sandra Bullock type character. Because he would pretty much be Hugh Grant, just like a rich playboy who's just like, he just needs someone to level him out. I think that could work. Do you know how many problems we'd solve?
But who could be that person?
Michelle Obama.
Okay, I have to put my foot down.
Or
absolutely
she
not.
Has to have a single friend. She has to have a single friend somewhere.
Who would?
Maybe Gail King. I feel like she needs to be black.
Wow. That's a big ask. I think, of just like Black women in general who've given so much already. Now to ask also to fix this
to help
monstrosity.
He needs a magical Negro, and I think that would really like help him. Like he needs like Ben Carson sucks. So, and has no magic.
You want like Bagger Vance to show up? That's what you want?
Yeah. I think it would really like level him out. He'd get some perspective, you know.
I don't know, man. I just feel like I want to...
There'd be like a turning point in the movie when he like goes home to meet her family and like
he would like die.
You know,
I would watch
he,
that
like,
movie.
He like shows up in a limo and they like humble him and like he loves the food.
Oh my God.
We all know he'd love the food. It's all he eats. Junk food and soul food. So I feel like maybe he missed an opportunity. I would pay so much money to watch the TV show that's like Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, but it's Donald Trump and Michelle Obama, and I'd just die. I'd be like, I would die. I'd be so excited. But like after Obama dies, like they have a
like in a million years when this is all just like a national fever dream joke. We're all like, oh, remember? Like,
what would you call the movie?
Trump, there it is. Like,
yikes.
Trump, there it is.
How about West Wing kind of love?
Say it again?
A West Wing kind of love.
Ooh.
West Wing Story.
Kennedy's sex tunnel. I hate learning more about the Kennedys. They really take all the air out of my sails about when I think of like America and
that's the one thing that
that whole
takes the wind out of your sails when you think about America as the Kennedys.
Yes,
that's the one part of America that you're like, can't.
Yeah, it's like the rest of it I'm like understandable given the era, but those two, I just can't. So on SFL we look at movies that celebrate women or don't celebrate women, and we talk about how problematic some of those things can be. And this week we are talking about the Netflix original To All the Boys I Loved Before, which is also a book that I did not read.
I did read it.
Yeah.
Surprising no one.
And that's why she's on the pod, because she's got the insight to answer all of my questions about what happened in the movie that I saw. Ellen, do you want to give us just like a little synopsis of
like a mini of the book?
Yeah, we'll start with the book, and then if you want to talk about how it differs from what we watched.
Okay. Well, unlike a lot of other book movie adaptations, this one is actually like pretty spot on as far as like sequence of events. So, it starts with Laura Jean, who's a girl in high school. She's got an older sister and a younger sister. She's got her dad. Her mom has passed away and has been gone for, I forget if they specify exactly how long, but it's been a while. I think she's essentially grown up without her mom, and maybe has some like memories from when she's really young. But her older sister's moving away to Scotland for school, and she's trying to deal with that because they're kind of all each other has. And she's kind of a romantic. So she's got this habit of whenever she has a crush, she'll write them a very detailed like letter, and then won't send the letter. She hides them in this little like hat box in her room. So that's kind of her little like her quirky girl quirk. Mm-hmm. Her sister goes away to school, and right before she goes, she breaks up with her long-term boyfriend, who is also their next door neighbor, who is also one of Laura Jean's crushes. And then someone sends her letters, and all of her crushes now know that she at some point in time had crushes on them, including the boyfriend next door, and including this very popular boy at school, Peter Kavinsky. And so now, in an attempt to kind of save face in front of this neighbor / sister's ex-boyfriend / childhood best friend, Josh, who got a letter, she's faking dating a relationship with, too cool for school, Peter Kavinsky. And the reasoning behind why Peter is going along with this is, flimsy at best. I think like his girlfriend breaks up with him, and then he's like, oh, I'm sad, I want her back. I'm like, okay, dude, cool. Yeah. Let's make her jealous. And, like classic rom-com shenanigans ensue. Like obviously they start out pretending that they don't like this and that it's just business, We're doing this as a means to an end, and then it's over. but it's not over.
Never over.
Because then
It's never
the real
that simple.
emotions happen, and then, they end up kissing on the soccer field. And there's some other stuff, but that's basically the framework.
I liked it. So this was my first. I don't know why I had a real aversion to this movie. It looked like we were talking about earlier, off pod. That it looks like it would skew pretty young, like towards a preteen audience, like 13, 14. And so I was like, I'm not gonna like this.
Yeah. I'm not the target audience.
I'm not the
for
target
this one.
audience. Not at all. I actually did really like it, which was surprising to mostly me because I don't know. I can only say that I liked it. I think I need to watch it again. I didn't understand the relationship between the sisters. I think that they didn't do a good enough job, in my opinion. And I know that this is part of like a book series. Mm-hmm. So maybe in the other books, more the sister relationship is more fleshed out, because I was like, it just seems like you've picked from a hat the characters that you need to make a rom-com without developing really any of them. And I was like, I don't really care that any of this is happening, but it's so predictable that I feel like I've got 90, or I think it was 100, an hour and a half, hour, 40 minutes to watch this.
Well, let me tell you, I think that is exactly what they did. Like, in a very real, semi non-judgmental way. I literally think that they made this movie, for aesthetics, which is fine by me. You know what I mean? Like, Lana Condor, who plays Laura Jean, is adorable, and she has amazing fashion.
I love
throughout.
Her full set of lashes, no matter what.
All the time. Perfect lashes. Her hair is gorgeous. It's always like this silky waterfall, always just swinging around. And she's like, oh, I'm a normal girl. I don't really care about my looks. I'm like, except for this perfect ponytail, Laura Jean.
Yeah.
Her little outfit, the one thing I always note when I watch this, because I've watched this movie a few times, I always note she walks into school in one of the first opening scenes of the movie, and she's wearing this cute little outfit with these camo boots, and the mean girl of the movie is like, ooh, nice boots, Laura Jean.
Yeah.
And then they show the boots, and they're literally the most on trend boots ever that had
Exactly.
they were perfectly curated. Her entire
She's like, they're vintage. I was like, bitch, those are new.
Those are from Urban Outfitters.
And the other chick is wearing Uggs.
And she's wearing Uggs, which is noted by another character.
Yeah. Her boyfriend. He's like, she's cranky. She wants to be comfortable.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, she gave up caffeine. I was like,
She's bitch.
Yeah. So I would say that this movie is 1000% just a curated selection of things you need to make a movie happen. You know what I mean? And that's where I think it differs. Like I said earlier, the plot points in the movie, even though it is a series, the plot points in the movie are more or less the same. Mm-hmm. But I think it's the way they treat the characters and the character development that is very different. Because in the book, it's a little more, they go into it a little more. They do talk a lot more about, the sister relationship. They talk a lot more about their mom. They, go into the relationship with their father, because he's a single white father raising 3 Korean girls. So they talk a little bit about the cultural differences there, and that's why they lean on each other so much, because they really only have each other.
Strange that was never a point that was brought up, or at least, or maybe I missed it in the dialogue.
They just never bring it up.
Yogurt drink. I was like, the fact that there's a white man raising 3 Asian
the very beginning,
girls.
with the the dinner scene.
Yeah,
he tried to make Korean food, and they were like,
and it didn't go well.
Let him, tell him that it's just mom made. So I mean, I think they were pointing that out, that he's a white man making Korean food, and
that he's not doing it well, but he's trying so hard.
But that was it.
Yeah,
that was definitely.
It's definitely not
I
addressed.
Wanted more.
Yeah.
Than that, because it seems like they're in a very white town, and I was like, how is this? Okay, I mean, I don't know. Seems like this is Netflix, and I am going to be pretty critical of Netflix, because why not? But it just seems like they're trying to get Asian eyes on this movie, and I was like, it feels a little pandery, but okay.
Yeah. No, I would say that's fair. You know what I mean? I think it is kind of a win. A win-lose situation, because, obviously it isn't a very deep movie, but for what it is, I think it's a good movie. You know what I mean? And it is kind of a springboard. I'm not looking for the Joy Luck Club. I knew what I was getting. You know what I mean? If this is the move that needs to be made to get more,
diversity on screen.
Diversity on the screen, then I guess for now it's a nice little bridge to then, then we do get movies like Always Be My Maybe. That's a little more nuanced, has a little more to it.
Yeah.
You know, that is also featuring Asian American actors.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I think that, again, like in the movie, the difference between the movie and the book is really just like the book has a little more, not meat to it, but a little more, everyone's got more of a flaw, you know, like in the movie, Peter, you know, Noah Centinejo's Peter Kavinsky is smooth as silk, you know. He's got that little wink that he does. And he's always, you know, he's like, oh, hey, Covey. Like, he's always, you know, doing little playful shit. And he's a perfect gentleman. He's never rude, despite being a high school boy. Which I don't buy.
I don't buy it. And I just wanted him to be, like, outright a dick for some reason.
At some point.
But, like, why are we trying to be sentimental towards him without developing his character more
exactly.
And I'm like, I don't care.
That's why it feels a little empty, because it is a little empty. You know what I mean? He's just like a cute boy who's being nice to this girl, and you already know when you start this movie that it's going to work out. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, the minute you turn on this movie, you should absolutely know that they're going to end up together. Yeah. That is not the question, you know? And there's almost no stakes, even though they try to throw in some stakes with the whole.
With the red herring of the next door neighbor, and I was like, why? Well, and he becomes really creepy because they don't. Develop him as like someone who's just really reeling from the loss of his first relationship with Margot, the older sister, and it's just like, oh, is this an option for me? And I'm like, no, you come off as really creepy.
You're always lurking around the house, man.
Yeah.
Literally, I don't think he enters a scene that isn't in like a hoodie from the side yard.
Yeah.
I'm like, sir, like, you need to come in the front door like an adult. Like, you need to text that you're coming over because it's weird. Like,
in the book, do they do, or is this just a trope for the movie where she's imagining their relationship and he's there? Is that just in the movie?
I don't remember that detail. Okay. It could be, but if it was, it's not noticeable enough for me to remember.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I was like, this is weird.
Yeah. So, I mean, aesthetics wise, 10 out of 10 for the Netflix movie, you know? Like, I think it looks gorgeous. I think they picked all the right people to, you know, just everything looks nice and everything is nice. And even like the one moment where maybe things aren't going to be so nice when Lara Jean and Peter have had like their first kiss in this hot tub on a school trip, which is like, we'll talk about it. I'm sure we'll loop back to it, but it's like an adorable little scene. But someone on the trip, some other student has taken a picture of them and put it up in the school. So there's a little like, maybe we're going to take a dark turn here with, you know, Lara Jean's like essentially having her, you know, she had a nightgown on, but, you know, her quote unquote nudes are being released. Even that is completely, it immediately gets taken care of.
Yeah, it all falls flat.
It immediately gets taken care of. Yeah,
like, it'd be different if they actually did have sex in the hot tub and she's like, oh no, not only do I regret having sex with this guy who's obviously not as into me as I thought he was. And these news got
and now
leaked.
Everybody knows.
And now everybody knows.
You know, and so that's the big difference too between the book and the movie is that, again, I've read only the first book. It's first of 3, but the first 2 of them, the first one is To All the Boys I Loved Before, and the second one, I believe, is Love Always Lara Jean, or like Love Always and Forever Lara Jean, something like that. They're kind of essentially 2 parts of one larger book, is what I've come to understand talking to other people who have read it. And what I've been told is that in the second book, this whole like video of them kissing scandal is a bit more of a thing. So, and again, in the book, everything's got a little bit more of an edge to it in general, just in the way that they have their characters have flaws. Like, so maybe it does flesh out a little bit more in the actual story, but that's definitely not something we're getting in the movie. No. It is a very glossed over, to the point where it's a little confusing when they discover that the picture has been posted, and then, you know, Lara Jean's best friend's like, Kavinsky, you need to fix this. And I'm like, does he need to fix this?
Feels like it'll just settle itself.
Nothing has happened. Like, he's literally learning about this in real time with the rest of us. How is he meant to have fixed this? Like the implication is that the implication is that he's out here, you know, letting everyone believe that he and Lara Jean, you know, did something in the hot tub that they didn't do. But that backstory is all implication. It's never said. There's no on-screen time devoted to it. it just shows up and then immediately goes away. Yeah. Which I think is a little bit of a failure, because if the audience of this movie is meant to be a little bit younger, you know, let's say late teens, you know what I mean? Like up through maybe an early 20, that's a very real threat. That's a very real thing that happens to kids that like kids in this, you know, age with all these like the social media and like, you know, Snapchat, like you think your snaps are deleted when they disappear, when no, they are not. The internet never forgets. Like,
2 rules for the internet, kids.
Yeah.
Don't lie to the internet.
Yeah.
And the internet never forgets.
Never forgets.
Those are the only things you need to know.
Yeah. So that's a real issue that they could have really gone into, I think, in this movie. But again, it's not a movie about that. It's about aesthetics and about, you know, like everything looks cute, which
bothers me.
I don't think it bothers me quite as much, because I don't think I was looking for that though. When I was watching this movie, I don't think I was looking for substance. I was like, you know, here's some cute stuff happening. Yeah. And great.
It bothers me because like this is under the heading of a rom-com, and for me a rom-com is like this is the story of 2 characters who are flawed, seeing and, you know, unbeknownst to them, the thing that they need to, you know, better their own life is the thing that the other character has. Okay. And I didn't see that at all in this romantic coupling. And neither character grew up, because neither character had to. And I was like, maybe that is, again, because the lens of this is actually towards like 13 and 14-year-old people. Mm-hmm. And they're not really in the place where they're like, you know,
I need to grow up.
Beginning a romantic entanglement in order to, you know, grow up and like make a more permanent connection with someone. And I'm like, I don't think I'll be watching. But I also think that, like, in some, then it should have happened, if not in the romantic relationship, it should have happened between the older and younger Margot and Laura Jean. And I was like, I didn't see that there either. It just seems like they got mad at each other one time, and then they're like, still sisters.
They do have, like, that's maybe one of the only, like, true emotional parts of that part is emotional when, you know, they do have a moment where they're, you know, it's after Margot has discovered that Laura Jean did have a crush on Josh, her ex-boyfriend, and that she wrote this love note, but the entire time Margot's been away in Scotland, Laura Jean has not been talking to her. So to Margot, it sounds like she went away to Scotland and Laura Jean like took up with her boyfriend, you know? So Margot's pissed. And then they have this like sisterly heart to heart about it of like, no, actually that was from a long time ago. And like, I just don't know what to do without you. And all the things, you know, that you would imagine they talk about and it's cute. And we, you know, kiss and make up at the end and it's nice, but it's definitely not as deep as you would want it to be, you know, like I don't have any sisters, but I would imagine that, you know, there's a lot more complexity to that relationship than just, okay, it's fine. Like, let's go downstairs and literally make Christmas cookies now. Like,
yeah. And I was like, that would never happen. Ever.
Yeah. Like, it does not sound
there
realistic.
Would be a solid like, year of fighting if it was my sisters. Well, probably 30 years if we're going to be 30 years. Another 30 years about fighting about something. Like, oh, did you look at him? What?
Yeah. Yeah. But, so it's definitely shallow. And I mean,
that's what part I think that, like, I would expect kids in that age to, like, in that, what I'm thinking is maybe their target audience to hopefully want something slightly more than that. Mm-hmm. Because they did have a full 90 minutes to do this, and they had a lot of time for product placement.
Oh.
Jeep, Subway.
Didn't they?
Like,
didn't they?
Like, anybody else want to go ahead and throw
just
them some
jump in.
I was like, I'm sure Urban Outfitters did all the clothing.
Oh yeah.
And
they did a good job.
Yeah, and I even felt bad for the girl. And that's the thing is like when the characters like kind of fall flat like this, it makes me feel bad for the characters who I'm not supposed to feel bad for, like the ex-girlfriend of.
Oh yeah,
tall guy.
The mean girl.
The tall guy. Tall guy.
You know, there's the tall one, there's the mean one,
the hoodie, and
creeping one.
Yeah, creeping hoodie. The tall guy.
The mean girl, and I feel like
she wasn't even that mean. She's just like a girl with options. Like,
but okay, can we?
I was like, I don't know why we're all mad at her because she didn't like your shoes. They weren't like. I mean, yeah, they're trendy, but like, I mean, she has cold feet. Yeah, as she said.
So when I said like, I feel like they just grabbed, you know, they went over to the drawer and just like scooped out a bunch of, you know, rom-com tropes and threw them in the bowl and mixed them up for this movie. I feel like the presence and every single action taken by this mean girl character is the most solid evidence for that theory.
Yes.
Because one, this girl might as well not even have a name.
No.
You know what I mean? She just is Peter's girlfriend, and then she just isn't Peter's girlfriend.
Yeah.
For some unknown reason, he's like, oh, I'm going to make her jealous. So that's also his kind of very, very flimsy reason for even agreeing to this ridiculous idea of faking a relationship, which I love that it persists in like almost all rom-com media. Like it's always present, this idea that like two people would conspire together to fake a relationship to some kind of alternate end. And it just sounds like the most annoying thing to do to me.
Disgusting. And I was like, don't do this trope anymore. It's disgusting, in my opinion, that a man or any character would emotionally manipulate somebody into making a decision that's not, like, usurping someone's agency by way of this plot.
At the very worst, it is like some pretty extreme emotional manipulation.
I love how he was like, she's like, you still call her all the time. You still go see her. He's like, well, I dated her for a really long time. I care about her. I'm definitely going to fuck with her, though.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
I'm going to fuck with her.
But she's hurt me, and you're into the long con, right?
Yes.
Like,
exactly.
What kind of nonsense? Not okay behavior.
Yeah, it's not okay. So, like, at worst, it's, emotional manipulation. At best, it's a very inconvenient way to get what you want done. Like, that's a lot of work and subterfuge for uncertain, unknown ends. Like, who knows if that's even going to work? Yeah. And then what do you have?
Like, and it seems like it's an unoriginal plot, because that's exactly what the girl who broke up with tall guy is doing to him with the college guy.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I was like,
again, an unnamed college boy presence who's just, oh, we needed a reason for a thing to happen. Yeah. Here's a flimsy reason.
I bet his name is Trent.
Yeah. I'm going to put money on his name is Trent.
Yeah.
I think he wears a puka shell necklace, like, on the regular.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where
do you think they were in this movie, actually? Because I was confused.
I feel like Colorado.
But there's palm trees sometimes.
Oh, are there? Okay, well, I've missed that.
I thought they were in California, but it said Oregon.
What?
Yeah,
what?
I just read it online. They filmed it in Vancouver, so those palm trees were fake. But
where'd you see those palm trees, man?
At one of the parties.
And I was like, there are no palm trees. At first I thought like San Francisco.
Well, because she's always wearing like, it's the beginning of school, but she's always wearing like a coat. So I assumed it was like somewhere, like a Colorado situation.
I also thought downtown city with like all these big buildings and a river running through it.
And I was looking at those two bridges.
And then they go to a party, and the party's a mansion, so it's not in the city.
Yeah.
That kid.
Yeah.
I thought Seattle, and I was like, but those bridges didn't make sense. And I was like, what?
Yeah, I think it is Oregon.
But yeah, okay, Oregon.
All right, I guess Oregon has all of those things in close proximity.
Yeah,
wink, wink.
Wink, wink.
Who knows?
It always bothers me when they don't just say where they are. Just give me a geographic location.
Ambiguous setting is really annoying to me.
Yeah.
Like, it's very distracting.
Also, when you don't say what year it is when you're not doing something in the present, it bothers me.
Yeah. Distraction. I can't focus on anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this girl, the mean girl, like, I just love, like, all her little moments. You know what I mean? She, like, at some point, Peter has one of Laura Jean's scrunchies, and she steals the scrunchie, and she's like, this is my scrunchie now, Peter. Just so you remember who you belong to. Some stupid line like that. And then she, like, flashes it in Laura Jean's face, and it's like the big emotional climax of this like, moment. And then my absolute hands down favorite part is you finally. So this entire movie, she's been super mean to Laura Jean even before her and Peter started having a fake relationship. So we know it's predating the movie, this distrust and hate between them, but they don't say why. All they'll allude to is that at some point in the past, like middle school or whatever, they were friends, and now they're not friends anymore. And so the entire movie, you're like, why? What happened? Who did what? And you're waiting for this, like, what could possibly have happened that, like, it makes you so angry?
Someone. Yeah.
It's because Laura Jean kissed Peter in the most chaste little mouth peck of a kiss I've ever seen in my life during a game of like spin the bottle in like 7th grade. And she literally says this in this big like conversation in the bathroom. Laura Jean's like, what's your problem with me? And she's like, you kissed my boyfriend. And I was like, what? Excuse me, what?
Well, she did also...
That's the reason?
I mean, she did also kiss him when she was trying to like pretend that the, creeper hoodie guy. She kissed him again when they were together.
Oh.
Is that the one she was mad about, or the original kiss?
No, the original one. The original one. Because Laura Jean says that. She's like, you guys were broken up. The kiss when she tackles him on the soccer field at the very beginning. they had already been broken up. She's like, you guys were broken up. And then the mean girl's like, no, I mean in middle school. So they make it very clear this is what we're talking about.
Yeah. Wow.
And I just can't imagine. I'm like, I don't understand this at all. Like, I don't know what we're doing.
Petty. So petty.
So it's just like, a house built on the flimsiest foundation, I feel like, is this movie. Because again, we're not making a movie. We're essentially making a very long, beautiful, like, Instagram story. Like, it's very curated content.
Exactly.
It's effective in that way. It's very nice to look at. I will put this movie on in my house if I'm, cleaning. You know what I mean? Got chores to do. I need something on in the background, but, I'm tired of The Office. I will 1000% throw this movie on. And just peek in every once in a while at what's going on. And like, oh, everybody's still cute. Sounds great. Go back to, vacuuming or whatever I'm doing. Like, it's definitely not... it's not content driven for sure.
And I feel like there's such an opportunity to tell stories to this demographic that it's going to be like
wasted.
If they went a little deeper on the
the nudes.
I want to
situation.
call it revenge porn, but it's absolutely
it wasn't really
not that.
But just like the leaking of your nudes is like a real thing. Like nudes in heavy quotations, because they don't always have to be nudes. Just like suggestive photos, or just like leaking of your personal information or like media that you've given to one specific person, and then it gets out to a wider audience. I feel like is a huge point of anxiety and like something that kids should be worried about. Like they should know better about these things. Yeah, just something that we should all know how to handle, and a conversation that I think society in general needs to have about whose responsibility is this, and like, whatever. That's a whole other conversation. But
but I'm like, if we can have 13 Reasons Why can't we have a real a conversation in the same vein of
I mean, I won't compare that to 13 Reasons Why, because that is a show that I do not enjoy.
I've never seen it.
I think it goes
for the content, for having it be about a suicide and how to deal with death and how people aren't dealing with death.
I think
or
that
Euphoria
one
is like,
Euphoria I think is a really good example.
Drugs, and I'm like, but why can't we, especially for Netflix, because they have such a huge platform and so much money.
Well, and they can kind of do whatever they want, as we've seen with some of their, not so great original content.
Yeah.
They can greenlight whatever they want. And so it's always interesting to me what they do and do not choose to greenlight, and what they do and do not choose to include in those projects then. So, I don't want to bash this movie too much, because I do, even despite all the things I've said, I do really like this movie.
I definitely like it. Like, I wouldn't mind watching it again.
Yeah.
But like,
I think if you went in with no expectations, you would probably like it.
Which is impossible.
I know. If you go
I know
in
the story
knowing
that I wanted, and
it's not going to give you anything.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's nice.
It's kind of the category that I put the Mindy Project in. I was like, seasons 1 and 2 were phenomenal.
Oh.
And then that baby happened, and then I was
they got all mixed up.
And we got mixed up, and
well, and too much back and forth with the Danny situation. By the end, I did not care.
Yeah, you should have introduced a real plausible option. The one season where she was like with Durs, I was like, okay, Durs is a real option, but then you made him so cartoonishly stupid.
He got so weird,
and I was like, come on.
But so there is one scene in this movie that I find to be completely perfect and a little bit makes everything worthwhile. And it is the hot tub scene. And it is specifically because, one, it's just adorable. You know what I mean? A first kiss in a rom-com is just perfect. You know what I mean? It really is the point. Like, again, we watch these movies, even the good ones, even the classic early thousands ones, we know where we're going, We know the destination of this road trip. And on the way, the biggest attraction is always going to be, when finally are we going to have the first kiss? And I feel like for this one, adorable. You know what I mean? Peter's in the water. He's like shrugging around and just being whatever. And he does his whole little he like walks her through she's like, why are you mad at me? And he's like, well, I wanted to sit with you on the bus, but you wouldn't sit with me, which again strikes me as such a teenage thing.
Yeah. And I was like, okay.
But, he's salty that she didn't sit with him on the bus, going to the ski trip. And she's like, I don't understand. Why not? Yeah. So anyway, I do like the hot tub scene is kind of like what makes it for me, you know? And so, they're talking about, you didn't sit with me on the bus. And she's like, I don't understand why you're mad about that. And he's like, Laura Jean, I drove all the way across town to get your fancy Korean yogurt snacks. Why would I do that if I wasn't in love with you? Which is just so adorable and like it's
not
really cute.
Like an 18-year-old boy would say.
It's really cute, but again, like through the lens of like I'm 30 years old, I'm like, are you joking? But it is adorable. It's cute. You know what I mean? Like it is really cute. He's like, I went and got your favorite snacks. I wanted to sit with you on the bus. Obviously, that means like I'm into you. Mm-hmm. I really like you, and you are pulling away from me, and it makes me sad. And so then she, you know, she does her whole little, she like takes a leap of faith, which, you know, if you're looking for two characters who need each other to push each other to grow, this is kind of the only way that it happens, is because she would never be this brave if she hadn't been hanging out with him. So she like gets in the hot tub, but she still has her little nightgown on, and they have like a really cute little kiss. And I just really appreciate that it was like still very like, it's like a proper kiss. You know what I mean? She's like sitting on his lap, but she's not nude in any kind of way. And even like the nightgown that she gets in there in is like it's like a grandma style. You know what I mean? Like this nightgown is from like the Little House on the Prairie limited collection. It's a proper nightgown. Like, there is no even hint of a body shape beneath this thing. And yet it's still like a very like cute, and I'm like, I'm not going to say sexy because they're still, you know, children. Like even the actors, like they're playing like 17, but even these actors are got like 23, you know, but definitely like a very romantic little moment. It's very cute. Yeah. I really like that scene. I'm like, I feel like a little bit redeems because I do like your parameters that you laid out earlier of like being a rom-com, and I feel like this moment kind of redeems it a little bit. Yeah. I mean, it's completely squandered in the final act of the movie, but
I feel like the hot tub scene, like I hated the scene that immediately preceded it. I was like,
with the face masks?
Yeah. And I was like, okay, so we did find time for a magical black Negro, but we didn't find time to grow up two characters. And I was like, okay. Yeah. I was happy that they didn't
third crush.
Yeah. I was happy that they didn't make his character the catalyst for why this comes out, because I was like, I feel like that would have been a very easy like out to be like the girlfriend of tall guy finds out from, you know, that guy's secret, because I was like, hey, why keep bringing up that this is a secret, that he's gay? It's an open secret apparently, but I'm assuming my scenario was that the girlfriend was going to find out, blackmail the black guy into giving up a secret about his bestie. And the secret that he gives up is that... Oh,
I see what you're saying. Yeah. Mean Girl was going to be like, I'm going to tell everyone you're gay if you don't tell me what's really going on with Laura Jean and Peter. Right. And then Mean Girl would know, and then that would be like the big third act kind of plot twist.
Yeah. Okay. And I was like, oh, that seems a little obvious, but...
I'm also glad they didn't do that to him, because he is like, I mean, for being not a very deep character, he's very cute. Like, I liked him a lot.
I liked him.
I wish there was more of him.
I just wanted that weight of their relationship to come from somebody else in her life. Mm-hmm. Because they weren't even friends like 2 months ago.
Prior, yeah.
I was like, apparently he hadn't seen her since like some homecoming a year or so before. Yeah. And so I was like, but you've got 4 or 5 other people in your life. Even the best friend character. And I was like, what?
No, again, and it cannot be overstated, no content to be found here, you know? These characters are not here to be people. No, exactly. They are not here to be people. They are here to be the pieces of the puzzle that is a rom-com movie. Ugh. Someone wanted to make this movie, and they said, how do we get that done? We scoop up all these characters, we throw them in this setting, and that's it. And nobody thought about it beyond that. Nobody gave it any more thought than that. No, but it's true. Like, both her third crush, whose name I am completely forgetting, who does, like, he just admits to her, he's like, you know, oh, actually, I'm gay. And she's like, cool.
It's like, you're real forthright with that secret.
Yeah. He's like, I'm out, but I'm not out. I'm like, oh, okay. And the best friend, who she's like, this is my best friend. She just, like, who also happens to be like cousins with the mean girl. Why? Which I'm like, I get it, you know, small town stuff. They were probably all 3 friends growing up, and then the mean one decided she wanted to be mean and, you know, went away to do her own stuff. But even she is never really around for like advice. But again, in the book, they kind of play up the fact that she's like a flighty character. You know what I mean? Like, she's the best friend, but she's not a best friend, if that makes sense.
But I would want, again, like, I think that Booksmart did such a good job. What's the Star Wars daughter?
What?
Carrie Fisher's daughter, what is her name?
Oh.
That's a flighty girl. That's a flighty girl.
What is her name? Because I love her, and I love her in that role.
Yes. I don't know.
Billy Lord.
Billy Lord. That character, Billy Lord's character, is exactly who I think this character was supposed to be.
If you're gonna have that character, you need to blow it out of proportion.
Yeah,
like
and she
Billy
needs to be
Lord's
dropping
character.
wisdom constantly.
Yes,
and
literally,
like, again, that's why I didn't need the black character. And I was like, so you just introduced a magical black Negro for like literally no reason.
And I
you
mean,
have somebody to give that type of real response in a way that she would hear. Yeah. We don't have to develop any of this. Well, and it would have been just as effective.
Of the tropes that we have, obviously we can do away with that one, you know, forever because it's horrible and, you know, damaging. But
I mean, I love bagger pants.
No, but I'm saying like even in that trope, he wasn't very magical.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, again, even in the tropes, we're not aiming, you know, we're not swinging for the fences here, you know? Like, even for the characters that you're like, oh, you're just going to be a type and we're not going to develop you at all. I'm like, okay, then at least, like, this better be the most of that then. Yeah. Like, if that's all you're going to give this person, they better be at the top of the mountain.
Yeah,
like,
I did feel like this movie was very heavy on the rom and not heavy on the com. We could have leaned into a lot of comedic beats. Like, I don't think I laughed once.
No.
Well, I think the little sister had a couple of little beats.
We can talk about how much I love Kitty, the littlest sister.
That's my favorite.
She's
scene.
adorable.
I loved her scenes. I thought she did a really good job. I love the car
scene. She's a really
scene.
Cute little actress. Yeah, I love her little jokes. Like she gets in the car with the helmet because she's like, Laura Jean's gonna drive, and she's like, I just want to be safe.
Yeah.
I cannot and will not ever get over when she calls her dad Dr. Man, because their dad's a gynecologist, and she says something about like Kitty's like, oh, the moon controls your menstrual cycle, like, you know, we're all women are connected to the moon, and he's like, no, I'm a doctor, like that's not how it happens, it's your body, it's health. And she's like, okay, Dr. Man. I love it so much because even though I do know that, you know, your menstrual cycle is health and it's, you know, determined by biology, I'm also like, shut up, Dr. Man, it's the moon. Like, I
like
said it's the moon, it's the moon.
Like, fine. Yeah. I'm on Team Kitty.
So I think she's cute. Yeah. And I like her, you know, I think she's a really good actress. Like the actress who plays her, I think is a really good, like as far as like, you know, child actors go. Yeah. It's touchy, like who knows.
Yeah.
But I think she did a really good job.
I think my favorite scene was the one where he picks the two of them up for the first time to drive them to school. And I was like, this, to me, was like the heart of this whole movie. Yeah. This scene, because it gives him and his real personality and the cheekiness that would most likely become their dynamic, where he's kind of prodding her, she's still within herself, and then she eventually like puts the guard down and just like laughs with him. And I was like, I love that dynamic. I loved Kitty in the back, just, you know, giving her a little like
little 2 cents every once in a while.
Yeah, and she's like, you can't call me Kitty, you can call me Catherine. And then I was like, very cute. Very cute.
Catherine Songcovey.
It's like very cute, but I was like, this to me is the emotional heartbeat of the movie that I felt like I never came back to.
Yeah. Agreed. That is those little kind of beginning getting to know you scenes are cute. Yeah. I also really liked when they're not when they're in the party, like, because I feel like once we're in the party, everything falls flat again. But when they're preparing to walk into the party, and they're kind of like once again going over the ground rules of the relationship, because this is their first kind of like public appearance. And she's like, okay, remember, like, you can't kiss me. And he's like, yeah, but we can like hold hands. And he takes a picture of her on takes like a picture of her on his phone and makes it the background and stuff, and he's just like, so fast. Don't worry, girl, I already got it. Like, it's so cute. Yeah. And I feel like he
gets to have a personality. I was like, oh, okay, now I kind of see the charming, like, why is she falling in love with you? Because it seems like I don't get it. Yeah, it seems like you kissed her that one, or she kissed you that one time, and then you decided that you loved her. And I was like, I wish I could just decide that people love me.
I was thirsty for both these boys. I was into the high school students and like felt like a pedo. Well, felt like a creep watching it.
They're also like 25, so you're okay.
So hot.
You do have to constantly remind yourself, that Noah Centineo is not an adult. Like in a meaningful way to me, not an adult. Like, because he is gorgeous in real life. No, in real life.
He is an adult.
No, but like legally an adult, but not like adult in relation to me. He's like 24.
That's adult in relation to me. Nah. What? So, at Starring Female Lead, we like to talk about the movies in relation to 3 criteria. The first being whether or not the female characters are top billed, whether or not they exhibit their own agency or have agency throughout the movie. And then the last one is, Hillary, whether or not they move the plot along. And so I think that Laura Jean is an SFL. I think she fits the criteria. She's obviously top billed. The whole movie is about her. I like that they show her inquisitive mind, like really like the gears turning for her in terms of like, you know, oscillating between whether she feels like this is a real relationship, whether she should just stay within herself.
Yeah.
Is this a real relationship? Should I just stay within myself? And then even though she has some influence from outside of herself, it seems like all of her decisions are driven by what she wants, what's going to be best for her in the scenario. She doesn't do anything before her time because other people have encouraged her to do it, which I appreciate.
I think that's what I really like about like, that's a really good description of what I really like about the dynamic of the hot tub scene, is that she's like, I'm going to do this because I want to, and I'm going to do it in the way that I want to do it. And that's like perfect agency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the agency. To me, the agency part is the most important part.
Absolutely.
Because I just hate to see women without agency.
Yeah.
Unless you're a very, very minor role, like the best friend. And I was like, even she, to me, had agency, just none of the other characteristics, the best friend character. What'd you think of, I mean, I only really want to talk about the top build. We can cut that explanation of who I'm going to talk about next. But I feel like Margot,
I mean,
okay.
For the time that she's even in the movie, I think she has her agency. Like, she breaks up with Josh, even though that's a left field decision that no one expected her to do, you know, like,
yeah.
He literally came over with like a plane ticket that he had bought to Scotland to go visit her, and she's like, ooh, we should talk about that. I hope it's refundable.
That wasn't really her own agency, because she said that her mom told her to do it.
Yeah,
she was like, she's like, why did you even break up with him? She's like, well, mom told me that I shouldn't go to college with a boyfriend. So it's like, and she kind of made it seem like when she was reflecting, she's like, I didn't even want to do it. I don't think she said that, but that's
I think that's why she got so mad, is that she didn't want to do it.
Okay, fair. Yeah, I completely forgot about that note. And yeah, that does kind of remove her agency from that decision. So then I would say that she probably isn't an SFL, unfortunately, because she also doesn't move the plot along at all, because the only people doing anything with this plot are, and I mean, it's all Lara Jean and Peter, and that's kind of specific, and Kitty, you know, for sending the letters in the first place. But that's also kind of just the symptom of a rom-com. You kind of focus in on two people, and everybody else is kind of just reacting to what they're doing.
Yeah.
But I mean, sorry, Margot. Sorry you got cut.
Margot.
I was gonna give it to you, but then.
I mean, I wish there was just like a tiny hat that I could give her that's just like not a full like SFL crown, but just like a tiny hat.
She's like an assist. You know?
Just like a tiny glittery hat.
Yeah.
Just like a teeny tiny top hat.
You tried.
For her. Yeah. Because she did. She tried.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to give her. I do think that I'm going to give Kitty an SFL.
1000% Kitty's an SFL.
She's an SFL. I love her. She's a little precocious little kid. And I was like, I fucking love it. And
yes.
I just love that scene where they're in the car, because I was like, I feel like each one of them had such distinct personalities and interests in that moment.
Yes.
And all of them executed them really well. Nobody's agency was trampled on. Like, Kitty was like, to me, she stood her ground, and she's like, I don't like you. You're the new guy.
Well, she was literally like, you don't get to call me Kitty. Like, people I like call me Kitty, and I don't like you.
Yeah.
So. And I mean, like, talk about advancing the plot. Like, she kicks the whole thing off.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's not revisited until the end of the movie when she admits it, but she's the one who sends the letters. Like, none of this would have happened if she didn't do that. So
exactly. So Kitty nailed it. I mean, there's the girlfriend.
I mean,
whose
there's
name
the
I can't
mean
even
girl
remember.
who, I mean, I guess in a way.
I mean, she's not so much moving the plot along.
No, she's definitely not doing
being
that.
Pulled by it. These things are happening to her.
Yeah.
She's not. I mean,
she definitely does have a little bit of agency, unless there's something that I'm forgetting that Hillary's going to jump in with. That. I mean, she does break up with Peter. Like, even if it's for a shitty reason, she does, like, break up with him and is just, like, not apologetic about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And at least to my knowledge, doesn't do it, at least at the beginning, specifically because she wants to, like, manipulate him in some way. I think it's because she wants to, like, you know, it's cool to be with a college guy, you know, kind of thing.
Right. For myself, I'm going to say that she's not, only because all of that happens extraneous to the movie. Yeah. Like, we don't see her break up with him for any specific reason. Like, if it would have happened...
Oh, it's only, like, on camera
Well,
evidence?
Yeah, because I could assume that the relationship is bad just given that opening scene where they're in the high school in the boots.
Yeah.
I can assume that this isn't going to last, but I don't want to assume why she broke up with him because maybe he cheated on her or I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But again, I'll give her an even smaller hat.
I was gonna say I do not
maybe
think
a pencil cap for an SFL. She's not a bad character.
Do not think she gets a full SFL title for sure.
Yeah.
But I do think that if we're gonna disqualify Margot, I think we need to at least a little bit include the mean friend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, making sense? Probably not. Like, no one is really, really getting it except for Laura Jean. And that's it. But everybody else gets, like, varying degrees of honorable mention.
Yeah, tinier and tinier.
Kitty also is SFL.
Yeah.
And then what about, I feel like the best friend, completely discounted. Almost even as a character. Like, not even as an SFL, just as a member of this movie. Almost we could just write her out.
Yes. And I'm like, they did nothing to describe her as flighty. She was just missing.
She just wasn't around.
I was like,
and she had like that chaotic energy girl, like under eye eyeliner. That was the only clue that she was like a not trustworthy character, was that she fully lines the under of her eyes. I was like, oh, okay, I see what's going on here. Like,
and the scene where she's like sitting on the kitchen counter telling the dad about how he's creepy, about how he's like, oh, it's so weird that you went to college and wanted to be a gyno. And I was like,
first of all, can we be done saying that? Like, first of all, can we just be done with that whole like line of logic?
Are dentists. Obviously.
I mean, yeah.
There's a whole lot of body and you chose teeth. And
you chose like bones outside of the body.
Yeah.
That's what you wanted to do with your life. I don't buy it.
Seems like a mistake. Seems like a lot of money.
Don't buy it. There's got to be an ulterior motive, I think.
Yeah. I feel like that's like people say that they like commit suicide the most because it's the worst one. Yeah, you went into that knowing that is a possible hazard of the job. So
I didn't know that at all.
Yeah.
Well, thank God I wasn't a dentist.
Yeah.
And
I don't trust them. I go twice a year, but I'm skeptical. I don't know what you're doing back there. They got a lot of gas, a lot of power, tools.
Okay, so I'm gonna on tape put in my bid for my next appearance on SFL at some point. We need to talk about Bob's Burgers, specifically Louise.
I love
Which
Louise.
Reminds me of that episode where she does go to the dentist and they have to have like an action plan. And I'm imagining you.
Her go back.
Yeah, walking in being like, don't try any funny business.
I'm here for the cleaning, nothing else.
You didn't say anything about a needle. You didn't say that at all. Like, we're calling it off. Like,
I'll see you in 3 months.
Exactly.
When I've cooled down.
Yeah, so I don't think that the best friend is an SFL at all. At all.
I can't give it to her. I'm going to give her a hair barrette, not even a tiny hat.
I literally think they hired her because of the way that she said Uggs in the beginning when she like burned the mean girl. And that was it.
First I thought it was one of the Apatow girls, and I was like, okay. And then it's not. It's not
one of the Apatow girls.
Mm-hmm. Judd's daughters.
Oh, I was not made aware of these girls. Mm-hmm. How many are there? Like
2. There's 2.
Oh,
Maud and Iris.
Yeah.
Oh.
I thought it was
I've
Iris.
met the parents.
Judd,
yeah, and Leslie.
I love Leslie Mann. I think she's hilarious.
Oh yeah,
I miss
Leslie
her in
Mann's
Rom-Com. She is funny. Why is she not acting anymore?
Okay, if you want to talk about the blueprint of the best friend / older sister done well, Leslie Mann.
Yes,
exactly.
In Knocked Up. I
Knocked Up,
phenomenal.
perfect. And then a lot of people like to hate on This Is 40. I liked it, despite being a bit too long.
It was a continuation of
very.
Knocked Up.
It was basically like
Yeah.
Leslie Mann and Paul Rudd, right?
Mm-hmm.
Their relationship, like being a more advanced married couple and all the, whatever that goes along with that.
Yeah.
I liked that movie. I thought it was, again, like, a bit lengthy, but I think the jokes were there. I think the characters were there.
My only critique of that movie would be I felt like the movie was unsure of how dark to go. And it kept bubbling up and being like, oh no, but it's a comedy. Yeah. And I was like, no, let's sit in This Is 40.
Yes.
Like,
it should be a dark
We're going to laugh
comedy.
at how uncomfortable we are. And I feel like that's a very
It should
valid
be a
laugh.
little rough.
Yeah.
Because it's rough.
Yeah.
I think that's a little bit why it took so long, is because they were essentially making 2 movies at once. Mm-hmm. A happy fun time, and then oh, we're really getting into it now.
Yeah.
And they kept trying to like run them simultaneously. And then it ended up being like 30, 45 minutes too long. Yeah. And they didn't know what to cut because you'd have to cut one entire side, and they didn't want to do that.
Which is like strange for an Apatow movie.
It is weird. It is weird. He usually knows exactly he's like, you know, a crisp, you know, 90 between 90 and like 110. Yeah.
I like that. I'm going to give this movie, I'm going to give it 3. I'm going to give it 3 burned Korean roasts or whatever they were eating for breakfast or dinner.
In the beginning? Yeah. Yeah.
He's like, go ahead and hold the other side of this. And I was like, what? Dad, no.
She had to go get the electric knife to cut it. And it's supposed to like fall off. Yeah. That was another really great line from Kitty when she's like, it's supposed to fall off the bone. Because that's me at every meal. I'm like, isn't this supposed to be better? Like, why is it not better?
Oh. I loved it, and I would recommend, with the same caveat that like watch this movie because it's a fun time. Like if you're having a ladies' night and you just want to like yell really loudly over the movie about whatever happened to you while you were in like middle school and high school, because a lot of the scenarios are very similar to my own experiences in high school. Oh,
did you also trick a boy into being your boyfriend through a ruse?
I think I probably tricked every guy who's ever been into me into liking me. So. With a not so clever ruse.
I think this movie's good for like, you know, if you're having like a hard mental health day, you know, and you just need like something to watch, but it's not going to tax you at all. It's not going to take anything away from you to watch it. I think this is a really good choice. Yeah. Yeah. The only thing is I wish this was funnier. Yeah, it's with a heavy heart. I might downgrade to 3.5. I know, 3.5 yogurt drinks that I drove all the way across town for. Because I do think that it's worth it, that it really is built. They really did build it as a rom-com, and there's no jokes. Yeah. I mean, outside of like
or at least
Kitty.
Like recurring bits, like I really wanted that friend character to be funny.
I know, but then she just disappeared. She twirled away.
Yeah.
If she left in a puff of smoke,
I would be like, yes. Like if she was really into magic and only left like every scene in a puff of smoke,
super dramatic,
I would die.
And see, in that scenario, the under eye eyeliner would make total sense, and it would track. It would be appropriate as opposed to
my father, David
crazy.
Copperfield, the inventor of Copperfield magic.
My father, the inventor of stage illusions. Excuse me.
Is that a little nod to Mean Girls?
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
Also a nod to Tessa's love for magic.
Okay. Guys, that's it. Thanks for tuning in. Oh, and I also wanted to just point out, because Trisha isn't here for this episode, that this was a great example of a good daddy. If you listened to last week's episode and you watched Scream, that was a bad daddy. This guy, also wife dead, very concerned about his daughters. That's a good daddy. So, I digress. But that was for Trisha.
Okay, I did not listen to that episode about Scream, which is shocking because I love the Scream trilogy, but I know exactly what you're talking about, and I agree.
Dad.
Horrible dad.
Horrible. He pretty much got his child murdered.
Yeah.
He is a horrible.
Oh, spoiler alert.
You know.
20-year-old spoiler.
Yeah, you got to go back and listen to last week's episode because it was wild, and Scream was a cautionary tale about daddies. So,
where can you find us, Tessa?
We're on the Instagram at Strong Female Pod. We're also on the Twitter, said most creepily in a British accent, at SFL_Chicago. So tweet at us. Let us know what you thought of this movie about bad daddies. And also follow Ellen on all her social media. Ellen, where can the people find you?
I am on both. Well, no, I'm only accepting people on Instagram. Sorry. I don't want that to sound like uppity or whatever. I just I'm terrified of interacting with people on Twitter because it seems ruthless and I'm not strong. So I don't think I could take it. But my Instagram is @_Ellen is dead. All one word.
Yay, guys. Thanks so much. Like, review, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.